Hi guys, and welcome back to the VAG Technic at VAG Technic Garage on YouTube, and obviously we still have the Audi A8 here. The owner was here, he paid us a visit. We were discussing the situation in person. We fully understand his point of view that the car is here for such a long time, and after the conversation he understands our point of view. Of course, we try to do our best to resolve the situation as cheap as possible, as quick as possible, but that's not always easy as it seems to be. In the previous video you seen we put the fully charged battery into the car. The faults were basically removed from the generator and power distribution issue, but we still have a problem that the system is not basically working as it should be, so there's no communication with the gearbox, power steering and 3 other modules. Thank you for all the comments to try to help us. Unfortunately can't really help us because we don't have Odis, which we have to get somehow finally, and in this video primarily I want to check the generator because it's not charging at all. We tried to done our best to put in the conditions so it will be charging, but no luck so far. So the battery, the 48-volt battery needs to go back to the company to sort out the ECU again, so it will be unlocked. They will charge it for us, and if I will not see any mechanical or electronical damage on the alternator generator after the removal, we still want to send it together with the battery just to get it double checked. In case the alternator generator is not faulty, we will put it back in the car and we'll try to do the process again. And in case the generator is faulty, we have to get a new one, and it needs to be coded with Odis into the rest of the car. So there's a bit of a more complicated process how it needs to be done. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'm gonna disconnect the battery in the back and start removing the alternator generator. Okay guys, so the generator is placed over here. You might say it's easy 10 minutes job, and again 10 minutes job. You have coolant going into the electric, brilliant combination, and you can see the port coming in, and there's a port coming out from the back of the generator, which is somewhere over here where you can't see. Only it's holding on 13mm long bolts, but you also have studs right over there, which I can't remove. So the only way how to do it is drop the subframe down and strip the whole shitty car off. And yeah, welcome in the 21st century with sick people are designing cars, and they are even selling them to people for crazy money. Okay guys, so remove the alternator generator from the car. It wasn't that bad at all. You just have to drop the whole subframe, engine mount, all the pipes, all that, all this. The saddest thing is we have to put it all back together because the car gotta come off the ramp because we have other things to do. But mainly what I want to do is strip it fully down, open it up and check if there's anything damaged behind this cover. Okay guys, so here we are again. We did open the alternator generator and I don't see any mechanical or electronical problem. Usually these are actually burn out, and I don't see anything else what should be causing a problem why the generator is not running. So it was a bit of a pain to take it out. The car is off the run. We put the subframe back on. We also removed the battery, which is locked again because there was an under voltage. The plan right now is I did contact the warranty company that there is a problem with this. I'm not sure if they will cover it, but looks like they don't need to cover it because I don't see anything wrong with it so far. The battery is going back to the place when they unlock it, but they didn't have the battery before, they only have the module. So right now we're sending the whole battery to be properly recharged, and it should be ready to go back on because obviously our charge is probably not good, or all the cells inside were not charged as it should have been. And yeah, the plan is they will be sent together. This will be checked just in case it needs to be checked to confirm there's nothing wrong with it. There have a few comments underneath the video that we should sleep the battery or put it in some kind of a service mode. However, if you've seen the first video, you probably know that how it's working. You have the relay inside there, and that relay is actually open, so that means there's actually no voltage coming out of the battery. And as you can see now, I'm holding it onto the poles and the relay is open. We have 0.000 voltage. So that means the relay is open now, and if you're gonna measure the pulse, there will be 0 voltage. So I don't know what's the difference when you're gonna do it through the diagnostic, because the only thing what will actually happen that the relay will be constantly open. But even if you put the key in the ignition, the relay is open until the car is actually running. So it should be running on a 12-volt battery. And the reason why it's always turning the ignition off after minute or two is because that the car has a big electrical system with loads of ECUs, and obviously to protect the system it will be switching the car off if it's not plugged onto the external source of power. So the plan is now, like I said, it's Saturday, so Monday I'll be sending off the battery with the generator to the company who done it for us, and once it's back I'll give you an update.
Several days later.
Okay, let's go. Okay. Okay guys, here we are 10 days later, so everything has arrived and everything was tested. We didn't want to replace the generator just because we wanted to replace it. It was tested and the test came out nice, so we don't have to be replacing it. There's no fault in the generator. So the battery was fully charged through a proper machine. When it was plugged onto these two poles, the relay was open, it was charging through the module. So that should be fully charged up. However, before we will do damage again, we did manage to get Odis. Miroslav was basically getting a self-education meanwhile, so we are able to do online coding and whatever is needed to, so should be fine, we never know. And next step, unfortunately, again, we have to lift the car on the ramp, which is behind me finally. We have to drop the subframe, unfortunately, put the generator in place, plug everything as it was, install the battery in the booth. Okay, so the alternate generator is in place. Pulley, generator, water pump, everything is tight. This was loads of fun, this bolt over here. I'm not sure you can see it. That was absolute pain. Ground wire, and we still have to put the subframe in place and obviously put the battery in the boot. That'll be loads of fun, and then just finish it off from the top, few boost pipes and stuff. Should be easy then. Steering fault. I want to have all the faults directly. And here we are testing the Odis. So we did receive the Odis. I'm quite happy with it with Miroslav. Miroslav was actually doing like self-education. As you can see on the display now, the voltage is jumping from 11.8 over 12 volts sometimes, but ideally we need to be over 12 volts for the whole time. When we checked it with the multimeter, we were like over 13 volts, so I'm not sure what was going on there. If I must say, regarding the Odis, it is better than VCDS in few ways, especially it will give you loads of help when you basically stuck with anything. It will give you menus, it will give you an idea what to check next, like each procedure, how it needs to be done. So what we're doing right now, we're doing a full scan, and we will try to somehow wake up the battery and try to make the alternator generator to start actually charging. And as you can see, there's quite loads of red stuff still. The fault code with the battery, what was stored there, like under voltage open rule and all this stuff, is actually gone when the battery was charged. The whole plan is right now, what we have to do, or we want to do, is to make a charge, because we think that's the main reason why all the other fault codes are actually on there. So we did try to actually go through the process, but it didn't allow us to. There is a certain percentage what the battery should have, and we were over the percentage, and the system just didn't think that it needs to start charging the 48 volt system because it was charged at the time. So the only great idea what we have at the time was, let's start the car up, because it's not obviously charging, and it will discharge the battery while it's running and still not charging to the proper percentage what it requires. So we did start up the car up, and as you can at least tell that the engine sounds good. What do you think? So the good thing is the engine is running fine, which is good. We sorted out the mechanical issue, but we still have the fault with the 48 volt system, and as you can probably tell, still running the diagnostic, and even after all this we just couldn't manage to actually work through the system, and the alternate generator was still not charging, the fault codes were still presented, and even when we left it running, so the battery actually was discharged, the 48 volt battery was discharged to the percentage when the diagnostic wanted to activate the generator. It didn't allow us to actually activate the generator even afterwards. So it was very, very funny. Personally, I felt we are quite stuck at the situation, and we just tried to throw like everything on it. We even tried to do with the VCDs to unlock the relay afterwards, because the battery locked himself again after a few minutes. And for me and Miroslav, it was just doing something what we never have done. It was something what we don't have experience with, and the only way how to gain the experience to have the problem actually and go through the whole process. So yeah, as you can see, few fault codes were gone, but still there's quite loads of things what didn't disappear, and it will need sorting. And here I am home. Miroslav stayed at the garage because he was running the diagnostic over and over and over, and there's no communication with the gearbox. There was no communication with some other modules. The battery don't want to charge. We actually locked the battery again, so it's not fully discharged, but obviously it went under the 14%, whatever it was. And yeah, Miroslav is still there fighting. So we check everything. Me and Dave, when we put the engine back together, actually we have the fault codes and no communication with the gearbox, ECU and power steering. We check the whole wiring. We can't see anything broken. We can't see anything what we can actually make a mistake, like cut the wire, because the wire is held in a plastic guides wherever it needs to be held. So you can't even like squeeze it in between a subframe or something. So it is funny because we have in total like 5 connectors or 6 connectors going from underneath of the subframe to the power steering, a gearbox, engine mounts, I don't know, whatever is there, and we checked it. Miroslav said he will check it again, so I wish him all the best. I left him there because it's quite late, and obviously I gave up for today. I have absolutely no idea what we're gonna do next so far, and I spoke with the owner of the vehicle. He has someone who's specializing in the diagnostic and electronics. He was on holiday, so we will have a contact on that guy. We'll try to get in touch with him, send him the full scan, see what he say. Maybe he will try to give us an idea. Obviously, Miroslav was like, let's drop the whole subframe down, and there's definitely something wrong with the wiring, which I'm not saying it can't be, but before we're gonna drop the subframe again, which is actually quite a big job, I just want to have a confirmation with someone external, like, yeah, that's a good idea, or no, I don't think so, it's this and that. So we unleash need a small guidance, like what to check, what to look up, because I don't want to spend more time. Obviously, we spend quite a lot of time to charge the battery, test it, send the alternate generator out. Everything requires like loads of stripping, and especially the owner needs the car back. And also because it's a warranty work, what they've done the change with the camshafts, we're not getting paid until the car's fully sorted, because we just can't do an invoice to a warranty company like, yeah, the engine is all good, yeah, pay us whatever you need to pay us. And by the way, the car is a non-runner and the owner got to send the recovery for it or something. So we definitely want to do it that way. We also don't want to give the car to the owner like, there you go, you're free, run away and sort it out yourself, because like I said, we don't really want to be replacing something necessarily if we don't test it or check it first, because obviously we're talking about parts which are very expensive, very expensive. So we will see. I'm home now. I'll probably do the video editing, see how that goes, and we will continue with the A8 in another video. So far, not a happy ending still. This is probably the third video, I think, with the A8. And yeah, it's a very interesting one. Definitely very interesting one. Loads of experience gained, but didn't manage to sort out the problem for now. So definitely thank you for watching. Thank you for all the comments when you tried to help us. And we will see you in the next video, guys. Take care for now. See ya.